love is love is definitely forever, but love can also be fleeting. So don't give up on love.
Always remember, I'm get emotional, why you asked her to marry you in the first place. It was because you loved her. So you got to remember that every time there might be a small argument.
Oh, I think it's real important that you want the same things and that, you're going to set the same goals or help each other set goals.
If you want something to go well, don't plan how you think it's going to be or even what you want it to be. Just let it be.
Having the respect for each person being an individual, that you cannot expect that person to necessarily think exactly the way you think and do things the way you do things. So you have to give that person some space to be who they are. The other part of that is to communicate.
Can I hear it later?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the radio?
Yeah. Hey guys, today Table for One is at Morningstar. We're set up, we have our booth set up here. We're talking to some singles, some couples, and it's that senior generation. They've got a lot of life that they've already lived, some good advice for us dating wise, on love, some good experiences and stories. So please tune in and maybe we'll all get something from it. And also like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. We could pay our rent. Thank you. So we have Joe here. It's easy to remember because I'm Joe. Yes. And do you mind me asking your age by chance?
76.
76 years young.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you had some advice for us about somebody that might be going through a heartbreak or is heartbroken right now.
Yes. So it's really important to understand that when you're heartbroken, that means, first off, that you have a heart. But mostly what it means is that you've got something better ahead. And so what you need to do is you need to mend that, because then there'll be more strength for you to find exactly the right thing so that you won't be heartbroken next time. Or even if you are, then you'll know that you can recover. So just go through it, you'll get through it, and you'll be better next.
Yeah, because it's a part of life, I guess.
It is a part of life. And it really is, it's an old adage, but it really is better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Yeah.
Really.
That's great advice. So somebody that's going through that right now, there's light on the other side of the tunnel. Is that
Absolutely.
Okay.
There really is. And you may not think so, but you'll be surprised.
Okay, great. So that was good advice. Can we get maybe some advice for the younger people that haven't found their person yet, but are dating and maybe they think that there's nobody out there for them?
I think there is. Never settle.
Never settle. Okay.
Never settle. If it's not right, it's not right.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Have a good time. Keep looking. And the right person will come up in the right time, even if it doesn't feel like your time and you're not out of time.
Okay.
I think I may still have another love, and I'm 76.
Are you dating right now?
I am not.
Okay.
But I'd like to be. It's coming.
What about, since wealth of knowledge over here, it seems like you've got some good points. Somebody that's in a relationship and they know it's not the right one, and sometimes it's hard to get out of that. Advice for that?
It's so hard to get out of that. And if you think you're going to get out and still be friends, you're probably not. And that sounds like I'm trying to make it harder, but you just got to follow your heart.
Okay.
And think about the other person. They have a right to have someone that really cares about them the way they deserve to be cared about. And if you're not that one, give them a break. Give it a break. Stop it.
It's really good advice. I guess another question I have for you. people that are in marriages, maybe they hit a point, maybe they're in their 30s or 40s or even, 50s, where it's not working out, maybe, a bunch of stressors, money, kids. How do you get past that? If because they've been together, maybe they are the two right person for each other, and it's a hard point, and maybe just not to give up. How do you get past those rough patches?
Well, I might not be the right person
Okay.
to ask that because I married my childhood sweetheart and we got divorced.
Yeah.
There was a lot of time there, but ultimately, when the end came and when he was literally dying, of course, we had children together, and the kids were going to be with him when they were going to pull the plug, is what they really call it. He could only write then because he was intubated, and he wrote a note that said, "Be sure your mom comes. She has to be here and she has to take care of everything." So, you know, you don't know what life's going to hold. You don't know what things are going to happen along the way. But when you have a love and it's a lasting love, you have to hang on to the parts of that work. And you still grieve that loss at the time it happens as much as anybody does that got to stay together the whole time.
Do you have some good memories with him?
Fabulous
Yeah.
memories. My childhood sweetheart, my first love, my greatest love, and the only husband I ever had.
And do you have something that comes to mind, maybe on a fun date that you went on, or something very special to you, a date that?
I have lots of those. We knew each other all our lives, and he was the town guy. I mean, we're from small eastern Colorado towns, and he was the guy.
Yeah.
And I was this little brown mouse bookworm kind of thing. And he always liked me from when we were really little. And he always teased me. And we always had so much fun. And we had a music person that was in here a couple of weeks ago playing for us. And he played this song, this old country western. And my husband loved country and western and loved music, as do I. And the song was, "Hey, good looking, what you got cooking?" Well, we went to this small high school, and it was a middle school, a junior, senior high school together. And we had this common lunch area. So I was in 8th grade and he was a junior when we started dating, but we weren't dating then.
Yeah.
And he came, and he was the it. He was in the plays.
Yeah.
He was the basketball star. I mean, he was the guy. And he came tearing into the lunchroom, and I was sitting there, and he came in singing, "Hey, good looking, what you got cooking?" right up to me. And I'm so shy and so
Were you
introverted.
blushing?
I'm dying, but loving it inside.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I will never forget that. And that song brought that up. So that was just recent. So we weren't dating then. We did start dating when I was 13, but I'm cheating a little.
Okay.
It was just a couple of weeks before my 14th birthday. And we were in the country, and he had a car, and my parents let me go with him in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Different times back then.
not necessarily.
Okay,
That
okay.
was very frowned upon.
Yeah.
But I did it anyway. And I was always crazy in love with him.
Yeah. What did you like about him the most?
Charisma, style, big laugh,
Yeah.
always joking, the life of the party. Everybody loved him.
Yeah.
And people would say, "What does he see in you?"
Oh.
And I'd say, "I don't know." So
I bet you had it going on, Joe.
well,
Mhm.
I must have, but so it was really great. That was really good. And so I never feel like I was the one that never had love. But it doesn't mean that that's your only love.
Yeah.
You can have other loves, other kinds of loves. Love is love is definitely forever, but love can also be fleeting.
Yeah.
So don't give up on love.
Okay. I think we should, call it at that. That was great advice.
right.
It's a great ending. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Jill. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah. So who do we have sitting with us today?
I'm Yvonne Guzman Rodriguez.
Okay.
And Benito Rodriguez.
Okay. Nice to meet you. Do you mind asking your age by chance? And you can say no.
No,
too.
you're gonna be surprised. I'm 66. My wife is 73.
Wow. Okay. You guys don't look it at all.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
We get that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have good health. You must be eating your veggies. Is that
My wife is a healthy eater. I'm the bad one, so
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. But we do more health than bad, I think.
Okay.
And I actually think it's continuing to remain active that keeps us young.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the number one, huh?
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
Fantastic. And then so he's the love of your life. You're the love of her
Of
life.
course,
Okay.
yes.
And how did you guys meet?
How far you
Well,
want to go back?
I'm,
We'll make it quick.
Yeah.
Actually, I met him in 1983, and I was attending a ceremony for them from the Denver Sheriff's Department.
Okay.
He was graduating from the academy with my brother, and my brother said, "There's a sheriff here who doesn't have someone to pin his badge on. Would you pin his badge on?" And I said, "Yes." So I pinned his badge on. We saw each other, like he gave me a thank you.
That night, I took her a bottle of wine, thanked her for putting the badge on,
And-
which was a respectful thing to do. So did that, and then she lived her life for 22 years before we met again.
Oh, wow.
I was in
Okay.
San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
So I lived my life. He lived his life. I come back in 2006,
Still a sheriff. I was still a
Yeah.
sheriff.
and my sister, who became a deputy sheriff, was working with him, and said, "Come, come and see Benito. He remembers you." And I was like, she says, "You pinned his badge on," and I said, "I remember that." And so I went in, but I wasn't really going in to date. I just, I just been here, and she
She
says, "You
committed
can."
a crime, so she.
Yeah. You had to put her in handcuffs.
He said, "Well, she says, "You might as well just be his friend." And I said, "Okay," so he had gone through a divorce,
My second divorce.
Okay.
and I had been, single for a long time. But anyway, we started talking there at the jail. That sounds so funny.
Cool.
But we were at the jail, and
I
we were
locked her in my
talking.
room where I was working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
The
so,
big keys.
It was there. Actually, we had keys. We actually had push button also. It was pretty more modern at the time.
Yeah.
It was right here in Denver
Yeah, at the Denver downtown
City Jail.
city jail. And so we talked for about 2 hours.
Yes.
About,
people that I was
he's
working
supposed to be
with-
working.
Yeah.
We were working. We had like three other people in there working. So they seen us really talking, having a good time. They kept going in and out, giving us our privacy and stuff like that. It was fun.
Yeah. There could have been a jailbreak and you didn't even.
Well, we were at the spot where they came in. They searched them for weapons right there on the
Oh,
wall.
okay.
And she was really over there, interested in some of that too. Because women they're more enchanted to want to see things, and me, I'll go the other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a crime, I'm going that way.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
want to get involved, but
But
being
so
a sheriff.
that's how we started. And so then he called me up a week later. Then we talked on the phone because I had to go to a conference. I'm trying to give you the short version.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to Florida for a week. We talked on the phone the whole time when I had free time while I was there. Came back, went on a date, and it was like this. It was totally different than anything I'd experienced before because it was this level of comfort with him and almost a level of familiarity. And part of it, what made it easy was that he worked with my brother. He worked with my sister, who was a Denver police officer,
sisters.
and my brother. And then my sister was a deputy sheriff, so he knew the whole family, which made it so much easier.
Absolutely.
But I knew he was serious and was my person when he said to me, you know, after you've gone through the things that we've gone through, you really start to know what you want. And when he said that to me, because most guys don't talk like that,
No.
I was like, oh my God, I got the right guy.
Yeah.
And there he is.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you guys have been married for how long again?
14 and a half
14
years.
and a half
Yes.
years. Okay. And so throughout those 14 and a half years, what keeps it going? You know, how do you maintain that?
Well, let me ask her. I probably told her once before. Is always remember. I'm gonna get emotional. Why you asked her to marry you in the first place?
Yeah.
It's because you loved her. So you got to remember that every time there might be a small argument or some kind of disagreement, you remember those times,
Okay.
and it brings back the joy that you had when you first started.
Okay. Was there any rough spots through those
Oh,
14,
we've had
15
our rough
years?
stops, but
Okay.
like I said, you got to remember why
Yeah.
you married the person in the first place.
Okay.
So then, it makes it easier now for me to understand and keep going that way.
But that's part of it. But I think the other part of it is having the respect for each person being an individual, that you cannot expect that person to necessarily think exactly the way you think and do things the way you do things. So you have to give that person some space to be who they are. The other part of that is to communicate, to be able to communicate. And sometimes when you're having a rough spot, you might not be able to talk about it at that moment. And so you have to be able to pull yourself away to give each other the space so that you can come back together and maybe discuss it.
Okay. And how did the relationship evolve then throughout? Do you guys feel like you're more in love now, or is it?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh yes.
For me, it's
Men
that too.
always say the third things you think. Don't say the first thing coming out.
Okay.
Think about the third things that's going to come out of your mouth.
Okay. Has your mouth gotten you in trouble a couple times?
Probably.
Yes, it has.
You don't say just think about what you're going to say, but say the third thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes when he has said something, I'm like, any other time it might have really upset me. And then I think, but I know that when he said it, it just came out and he didn't mean it exactly the way he said it. Because sometimes he's like, there's, even though he's lived a long life, there's an innocence about him at times when he says certain things.
Yeah. Give him some grace.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I guess I wanted to ask, for somebody that's, dating right now, I didn't already ask that one. The dating right now, advice for them if they're having a hard time.
My advice:
Yeah.
remember why you fell in love in the first place.
Before love.
Remember.
Before
love.
love,
If they're
when
just
you're
dating
first
right
dating.
now. Yeah. So a lot of people are, struggling dating, and especially, in our generation as well.
Yes.
So.
Well, yes. I mean, I have a son that struggles with that now, and he's older than you are. And I think the main thing is not to rush into a situation and to take the time to get to know each other. But I think the main thing is that you have to know yourself and know what your expectations are. And I just think that's the main thing. But I think you go slow, and then you just have to have respect for that other person
And trust.
and trust.
Okay.
Yeah. Respect, trust, sense of humor.
Okay.
You have to have a sense of humor. And I think it's just a matter of, I think today's world is just so hard, with all of the
dating
Yeah.
apps.
Yeah, the
The
dating
communication mostly.
Yeah.
To get into a relationship is hard because a lot of people want to shack up together right away, and
It's
it's
true.
you don't what you want to do. You want to know the person before you do, because how do you know that person is going to be the right one for you?
Right.
And if you can't trust that person, say, okay, I'll give you some space. We just met. Let's just give it a month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe a year. It depends on you. But think about the long term of it too.
Okay.
Because everybody wants to be successful. Both of you do. And that successful brings trust in what you guys are both goals are for.
Right.
The goals mainly.
Absolutely. Maybe for people that have gone on date after date after date after date and they're not having any luck, any advice for that? Or maybe
Keep trying.
keep trying?
It's going to come.
No.
Well, I don't know. I think that it depends, because if if you're struggling and you keep struggling, my philosophy on that is, if after 3 months you're still struggling, that may not be the right person for you.
Yeah.
You need to maybe really take inventory of what you need and what this other person's able to bring to the table. And that doesn't mean that that other person's a bad person. It just means that that person isn't the right person for you.
Right.
And so after 3 months, if you're struggling, I can guarantee that 6 months later, you're going to still be struggling with those same things, probably.
I would say, for instance, our granddaughter's 18.
Yeah.
She's come down here to live with us. She introduced us to her first boyfriend I think she's had since she's gone through. She's very smart and wanted to make sure she got through school already. Now she's going through real estate. But her thing to me is like she's so matured, and women's mature faster than men.
Yeah.
But we thought, man, she met this nice guy. He's really nice. He's saying all the right things to her, and she's talking to us respectful, and he's always been respectful around us. But then there was a turn where she said something about, that kid, like, I'm like, you're younger than him and you're calling him a kid.
Yeah.
They're no longer together
Yeah,
because of
yeah.
something that happened, but she is so mature in her ways. And it's going back to the women mature faster than men.
Yeah.
A lot of times women know what they want. Yeah. Men just pretty much want to have a good time, but you got to have respect for each other. If you don't have that, then why keep going? Why keep going?
Okay.
Yeah.
Great advice. One last question for you guys. What do you like about him? And then what do you like about her? What drew you guys together? And what do you like in the relationship right now? Like, number one quality.
I love his heart.
Okay.
He's got a great heart. But in addition to that, well, because he's got a good heart, he's got compassion, and he's so kind to other people, and he's respectful, and I love that he's a gentleman. Even after all these years, he's still a gentleman with me. But I also love his sense of humor, but his heart, it's his heart. And he's just, he's just such a good person. I just told my mother, I said, Mom, Benito, he's really a good man. Yeah. She goes, yes, he is. And he just is.
I always say I love her because she's a very kind person. She would give her heart to anybody. Animals, I'll tell you. She's very good at animals. Any animals hurting, she hurts with them. But most of all, she's a beautiful person. She's always giving and wanting to help people. And here we are, these many years, with 73, 65, and we feel that we need to go out and help these seniors out like we did today, and they enjoy it. But she's a great entertainer, and I love that she gets out there and really shows her heart, her true heart. Mm-hmm. And she's always been like that for years. Yeah. Since the day I met her, I'm always saying, I always remember when I first met her, she was just beautiful. And I thought she was too beautiful for me, but even now she's still beautiful. Yeah. But yes, she's beautiful and she's caring.
Yeah.
I love that.
Some high praise for both of you guys there. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. It seems like you have a wonderful relationship, a very loving relationship, and I'm happy to see it. So
thank you, Joel. Yeah, it's Joel, right?
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I think we're rolling here. And what is your name?
Sharon Thomas.
Nice to meet you. Do you mind me asking how old you are? Is that
84.
84. Okay, great. And then you said kind of wanted to talk about how you met your husband. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we were both students, undergraduate students at Purdue University, and I was taking a Shakespeare course.
Okay.
And Professor Sutcliffe he loved to teach this creative writing, short story writing, but he had to recruit a minimum of 10 students for the university to offer it. And so he kept pushing me. Finally, I said, oh, okay. Well, so then I enrolled in this class, and my husband was in the class, and a future husband, and a couple of, and they after the class, they would all go over to the student union and continue the discussion and say the things that they wouldn't say in class, And I complained about it to the professor, so he picked my future husband on. He said, you need to ask Miss Myers to go with you.
Okay.
Then we found out later that he had done this many, many times. And we started getting along Christmas letter from him, and where he told us about all these other couples that didn't know. None of us knew each other.
He was a matchmaker then.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
He's a really terrific matchmaker. He came to the wedding. He was very, we heard from him for years.
Okay. And so how long did you guys date for then until you got married?
Well, maybe 6 months or something.
Okay.
We were seniors in college, and so we were about to go our separate ways. So
Okay. And how long were you married to him?
62 years.
62. Congratulations. Yeah. That's great. And what was the glue that kept you two together?
Well, we both like to travel.
Yeah.
We both ended up being professors, so we put each other through graduate school.
Okay.
We lived in Denmark 3 different times for a year, and then we would travel from there and stuff.
Okay. What was there ever any rocky spots during the relationship?
Not much to speak of.
Really? Okay. I thought we would hear more. Everybody's having a perfect relationship over here. Well,
Really?
so disagreements, I guess. Did you ever have any arguments or disagreements?
Well, he was tighter with money than I was.
Okay, so you like to spend a little bit. Huh?
So we had to work those things out.
Okay. And what did you like most about him?
Well, he was a really kind and generous man, and he was a poet. He had a lot of books of poetry
Okay.
published, and I think we had the same interests in life, and
Okay.
and got to do the things we both wanted to do. So.
Yeah. And how did you know that he was the one? How did you know this is the guy I'm going to marry?
I don't know. I think because we both wanted to go to graduate, we wanted the same things out of life.
So similar interests, similar goals. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. And then do you have maybe some advice to the younger generation that are looking for their person or are in a relationship right now? What would that advice be, love-wise?
Well, I think it's real important that you want the same things.
Okay.
You're going to set the same goals or help each other set goals.
Did the love grow the longer you guys were together?
Yeah, I think so, because, we had kids, and he was a really good father, and both of our kids he just passed away in July, and
Sorry to hear about that.
both of the kids are, they really felt he was a wonderful father. So.
Okay. You doing okay? Yeah.
Hard.
It's hard. I know. Sure. It's a long time, and I'm sure. Do you still feel his presence?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Appreciate it. And thank you for the advice. And it sounds like it was a wonderful relationship. So sorry about his passing there.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Hard.
Yeah, appreciate it. Who do we have sitting here with us today?
I'm Lori,
Lori?
and
Dick.
this is Dick.
Dick. Nice to meet you guys. Do you mind me asking your ages?
Not at all. How old am I?
I'm 64.
Okay, and I'm 82.
What?
You didn't know that? We haven't had a one-to-one.
Yeah, 1-to-1 in a while. And you guys met here at Morningstar, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
and it was a scream doing it.
How'd you guys meet?
We both came in at the very same time, within 5 seconds of each other.
Okay.
And I was in the front row because I had gotten there first, and then Dick came in right behind me, and I turned around, and there he was. So it sort of went from there.
Okay. And what was he, putting the moves on you, or what was the case here?
No, he waited for that for a little while.
Okay. Great. And so was there a topic on here that you saw that you might wanted to
I
speak
haven't seen
to?
it yet. I do have kind of one that covers a lot. And it's a statement.
Yeah.
It occurred to me just about the time I was moving in here that If you want something to go well, don't plan how you think it's going to be,
Okay.
or even what you want it to be. Just let it be. And that seems to be a pretty good way to look at things. And I think of it like a spool that has tape on it or something that just unspools. And as it unspools, it relaxes, and people can pick off what sounds good, or
Okay.
like a good idea.
Okay. And then, so yeah, we are trying to get a little bit more maybe advice to the younger generation here about love and relationships. Do you have anything that comes to mind for them? Maybe they're looking for their person or they're in a relationship. Any advice that would come through?
I don't think anybody really has a lot of advice
Yeah.
on that subject.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
And again, I think just letting things happen,
Okay.
and there's just something right about that. I
Okay.
think.
Absolutely.
But not to have a plan like this is how it's going to end up
Okay.
or something.
So give me a quality you look for in a partner?
Sincerity.
Sincerity.
I think,
Is
yeah.
that the most important, you would say?
I would say so. I mean, you can't really get much done if you're not being sincere about it.
Okay. And do you have anything over there that
They,
nothing? That's okay. That's okay.
Do you have any advice for him?
Any advice? I don't know if I could give you any advice. I'm still trying to figure out my life over here.
Hey, everybody in this building is still doing that, and they're in their 90s and so forth. So,
Yeah. Well, talk to me about maybe if you're in a relationship, disagreements. I know a lot of people have arguments and disagreements. What's the healthiest way to get through that?
listening to what the other person is having to say.
Okay.
and talking it over.
Talking it over. Yeah. Does anybody win an argument?
I want to say not really,
Yeah.
because everybody has, if they go in with some idea that they have to hang on to, that's not a good way to get it to happen.
Okay. And then I guess, were you guys in previous relationships before?
Yes, both of our partners,
Okay.
our spouses, had died before we came in.
Okay. Okay. So you guys, just rekindled something else then.
Taking a lot of walks, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
That's true.
Well,
Yeah.
let me ask one more question for you. A piece of dating advice for the younger generation. Maybe they feel like they will never find their person, or they're going through multiple breakups and heartbreak. Any dating advice?
I think that just about everybody goes through that at some time because stuff happens
Some people do it longer than others.
to do.
So what would you say to them? Maybe get your life together before finding your person, or
No, I think you just have to make it happen because you like the person.
okay,
One of the things you just pushed on, touched on, was the fact that you do something like with her. We go walking all the time.
yeah,
We just do a lot of things together. And sometimes she knows that if I don't care for something or if she doesn't care for something, it's
He
no big
gets to
deal.
hear about it.
yeah.
You hear about it, but it's not a big deal.
Okay. So maybe don't take the differences so serious, or
Exactly.
find the common ground and
Yep, you're right on
work
that.
on that. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Okay. So who are we sitting with? What's your name?
Oh, I was going to say, you're going to tell me. Sarah,
Sarah. Okay. Sarah, nice to meet you. Do you mind me asking how old you are?
85.
85. And you said you had a good story about how you met the love of your life?
Yeah, it was a blind date. He lived in one town,
Okay.
and I lived in another. He was a doctor, and the gal who set us up was the wife of a doctor.
Okay.
So they kind of went together.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I met him. Blind date.
Nice. And how long were you with him for?
Before we were married.
Or yeah, when
Oh.
with marriage, how many years of marriage?
Well, he just died the end about 5 months ago,
I'm sorry to hear that.
and
Yeah.
he was 90.
Okay. Okay. How long were you married for then?
Oh God, who knows? You don't keep track. A long time
Yeah. Yeah.
is what I put it. Yeah, because we'd both been married before
Okay.
that.
Okay. And what I guess what was the secret to keeping a happy marriage?
Have a sense of humor.
Okay.
No, don't be too bossy.
Okay.
And I didn't pick on him, and he didn't pick on me.
Yeah, there was not a lot of arguments. Was it more lighthearted?
Not really.
How did you handle if you did have an argument? How did you handle that?
I don't really remember having any big arguments.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's unheard of. I feel like a lot of relationships,
Well, we blew it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Was he a funny guy?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you remember any of your vows?
Do I remember what?
The vows? Any of your vows?
No, we didn't have a fancy wedding.
Okay. Okay.
It was
Just a small one?
My sister's house.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it was a nice wedding, but
Okay.
it was just family and our kids. We had kids then too.
Yeah. Oh,
Not
okay.
each other's,
Oh,
but
okay.
our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you remember a time maybe when you guys were dating, maybe a fun dating experience or unforgettable one with him?
The one unforgettable was he was going to break us up
Okay.
when we were eating in a restaurant. And when we got into the car, he started to cry.
Because he wanted to break up?
Yeah,
Or-
well, I don't think, yeah, that's not of me. He just didn't want to. And then I broke it up.
You broke it off.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, no, I broke him to break it up.
Okay.
No, it was fine.
And then you guys got back together then?
Well, when we were in the car.
Okay.
So it didn't last long.
Do you remember what it was over?
Just that he didn't think he wanted to get married
Okay.
again. It wasn't anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
It was just he didn't want to think he wanted to get married again. He was busy. He was a doctor and had he's gone a lot.
Yeah.
But-
Okay. Okay. Maybe one last question. Advice you would give to the younger generation for dating and maybe how to keep a
No,
relationship?
I don't think I'd ever go there.
No advice?
I don't
Nothing?
think so.
Mm-mm. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we've got 4 kids between us. So.
Okay.
But they're all growing up now.
Okay. But are they in relationships as well?
They're all 4 married.
Okay.
Well, my daughter died.
Okay.
But she was married. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like you really loved him and you had a great marriage with him. And so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else can you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not really looking around anymore.
Okay. You're not
No.
you're not dating
No,
right now, huh?
no.
Okay. Okay.
At
Yeah.
85, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
well, you never know. I don't know. Is there other people dating in here?
I've got some men friends. But
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Men friends right now? Okay.
No, I'm not interested in getting married.
Okay.
At 85, are you kidding?
Well, you never know. You could turn a new leaf.
Yeah, that's true. It wouldn't last long.
Mhm. Well, it's fun.
Look at her,
Sometimes
she's just laughing.
sometimes it's fun having people around. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's good,
God.
yeah.
I'm going to push that away
Okay,
now.
yeah.